My name's Karina and I'm a grateful recovering addict.
Hi, Karina.
You know what just coming to my head after listening to the traditions? This does sound really cultish, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, we sit here, we know readings, like there's certain readings that I know off by heart, and I remember when I first come in, I remember people sharing that, and what a bloody good cult it is, right? If it is, like, we're here together, just trying to get well. Do you know what does my day look like today? My days look like I'm still on annual leave, don't know what day of the week it is. The house is an absolute tip. I barely dragged myself to the gym, it's only because I agreed to go with and take somebody else. But you know, I was just reflecting back as I was sitting there, and how much I've let go of the controlness in my life. Because I remember when I first cleaned up, like, it was a trigger for me when things wasn't going my way, or the house was untidy, or and that's not my life today, thank God. But when I got asked to share on a step 4, this must be my 8th share on a step 4. Whenever someone asks me to share on a step, it's always a step 4, and I don't know what it is, but what it does for me is it allows me to go back through my step work. So I do think, you know, my higher power, God of my understanding, allows me to go right to the root centre of what's the barrier in my life, and it is the feelings, it is the fear, it is the shame. But then you've also got the motivation, you've also got the assets in that step as well. So that's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, it's always a step 4, isn't it? And we did hear, you know, we hear it in the rooms. People go out on a step 4. You can go out on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9 or 10. Like, I don't believe it's the step that takes you out there. That's from my experience anyway. Like, I just took the step 4 as face value and thought, it can't be scarier than use it again. That's how I looked at it. And nothing comes easy. Nothing that's hard work comes easy, if you get what I mean. So I just took on suggestions. My sponsor was just little but often, and I just took direction. Never took direction before in my life. I took directions towards the drug dealer. That was the only direction that I took. So I just cracked on, and I'm not gonna lie, it's been a good 4 years since I've done my step 4. And just to out myself, I haven't done step work in a year. I finished my 12 last year, December, and I think I'm through just my first tradition, so I'm on to the traditions. But my life's been busy this year, not gonna lie. It's filled with the gifts of recovery that this stuff, you know, promises us the freedom, gives us hope. And that's all thanks to this program. I remember, like, just a bit of backstory, like, I walked into the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous with a mother that lost her children to the social care system, and they were on a special guardianship order with their nan, and alcohol took me out. It was one of many of my drugs of choices, but I walked in the rooms judging others for what they took, and I didn't take that, and my life wasn't that bad. That's my truth. When now I can sit here and say, we're all equal. No matter how I got my drugs to how you got your drugs, we all suffer with the same thing. Drugs is just a symptom of what we suffer with. The root problem, root cause for me is myself. And that's it. I identified that in my step 4. I hadn't got a power greater than myself by 3. I struggled a lot around that. I tried to use my sponsor as a higher power. She said, leave it out, I'm good, thanks, I'm just as sick as you. That was the truth, and that's when I sort of took her off of that pedestal a bit, and I actually realised that she's just as sick as me. Because I remember I used to call her boss, right? This is really weird. I don't even know why I'm sharing this. But I was like, yes, boss. Like, and she was just like, no, I'm not your boss. Like, I'm not your boss. And I was like, and she was like, no, please stop calling me that. Like, and I was just like, oh, okay. Like, this is my first experience with Narcotics Anonymous. I haven't been up. This is my thank God, touch wood, but thank my higher power that this is my first stint at recovery. Not saying it can ever be my last. I'm grateful, and I know from each and every single one of you that you know, where relapse is a part of your story, and I sort of take that experience on as my own, and just for today I know that doesn't need to be mine, but I'm also aware that what I suffer with can take me back out there very quickly. That's why I'm still at meetings, sometimes not off of my own back. But yeah, like when my sponsor would give me a suggestion, I just took it. I was just like, okay, like, let's just crack on. And I use humour a lot to deflect how I feel, and I would like be in some raw stuff that I've like poured my heart out to, but guaranteed I'll make a joke out of it or something. And what my sponsor started doing at the beginning of step work was like a little disclaimer, like, you're not going to do that. Like, you need to honour these feelings. I used to sit on my hands until I was blue in the face from not breathing, because I just couldn't let it out. I just couldn't let that emotion out. My emotions were always happy, sad, angry. I never knew anything like fear, or, you know, it's still quite hard to articulate feelings for me. But that's why step 4 is so important for me, is just to have a little look at that area. What is causing that blockage for me? And I knew that it was a lot of like inner child work that I needed to work on. It was, you know, having the acceptance around that. Just because my kids were taken off me, it didn't mean that I was a bad mum. It allowed me to acknowledge what was my stuff and what wasn't. That was the most difficult part, because I used to take on a lot of stuff from my childhood and thought it was my shit. Sorry for swearing, but yeah, I thought it was my stuff and it wasn't. Some people just need a little bit of help in life, and I'm able to see that through my step work. Like, I thought my step 4 was deep. It's my next time round I'll do a step 4, it'll be completely different, because I do have a mental block. I shared it a couple of weeks ago. Like, I feel like ain't till I hear someone's experience on something and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that as well. And to do my step 4 within the first year of my recovery, and today I'm 4 years, 9 months, and I believe 19 days, because every day's important for me. I've remembered a lot more now. I'm not just in that like chasing every question just to get it down. Like, I've processed quite a lot, and I've healed from quite a lot of stuff as well. So I'm not in that angry state of mind. But yeah, there was a lot in my step 4, and a lot, I think I had pages and pages around the guilt and the shame and the fear. But my resentments wasn't that big. I struggled. I'm a bit of a like easy-go-lucky girl. Like, it is what it is. It's done with. You know, like, I try not to like hold on to stuff, because I feel like it's just only eating me up. Like, it's not serving me a purpose, and I've always been like that. But I feel like that's the reason I've probably been shut on, and I've shut on a lot of people throughout my life, because I just live life like that. But my resentment list weren't pretty big. It wasn't. I even had on there that even if I didn't get my kids wasn't never to come home. I don't think I'd use. I think death was probably something that was on there. You know, if I lost my kids, like, then I would probably pick up. But yeah, the one person that I did have to put on there was the kid's nan. You know, we had history together. We used to use together. You know, I got brought up when my mum chucked me a wrap at my 18th birthday and said, "Get on it, girl." Like, it was normal. It was a normal upbringing for me. And I used with my kid's nan, like my ex-mother-in-law. She was the one to call social services on me as well. So you know, I had a lot of resentments around that, like, how dare you, but what I can do today is, oh, thank God that I've been through what I've been through, because I would never be sitting here with the clean time that I've got, with my children back home. I won a 2-year court battle, like, all of this stuff, like, that I've got in my life today. If my children hadn't been removed, I'd still be in active addiction, thinking that it was normal palming my kids off on the weekend. Do you know what I mean? Going out using social, like the drugs that I used were like socially acceptable to who I knew. I knew people that used, I knew people that didn't use. I never knew people that recovered from this stuff or sorted themselves out or. But yeah, it was a wake up call. You know, just having to surrender to someone that if I'm stubborn, so if someone will want me to fail, I ain't gonna fail. So I'd just be like, no, I'm sticking at this because I'm gonna prove you wrong. And that's where people pleasing comes into it, right? It's like, am I doing this for them or am I doing it for me? I do this stuff for me now, but it's only after doing the work. And then I got to the assets part in my step 4, and then my sponsor asked my nearest people, and I probably had about 3 at that time, to write a list of assets for me. Oh my God. Did I feel some, like, I think I had water in my eyes that day, because it was people saying nice things about you after you've gone through a step 4, looking at, you know, the shame, the guilt and sexual abuse, like resentments, all of that really tough stuff to look at. And then you get given letters of people saying really nice things about you, and didn't believe one of them, to be fair. I was just like, you're lying, and you're lying because you don't know the real me. And I don't think no one did know me by, you know, a year clean, because I barely knew myself, so how could somebody else know me? But it was beautiful. It was beautiful to then go on to my 5 as well, where, you know, I admitted to God, to myself and another human being. My 4 and 5 come together, and I read them out together with my sponsor. And my sponsor's I say distant, she's from Swindon, but like, well, I got her from Zoom, and she travelled down, and I met her for the first time face to face, and we read my 4 and 5 out. So it was just a really nice, beautiful, you know, serene moment, and that's where I come to believe, because no one went to prison, no one died, and my secrets were safe, which was really, really beautiful. I don't know if anyone that's done a step 4 or not, that you know that when you do a step 4, you're left pretty raw. So to do the both together, for me, was a nice, like, seal. And that's where where my God of my understanding come into play and come into action, because admitting to our God of our understanding before, and then to yourself, and then to another human being, that other human being my sponsor, it was a nice little package to put together, to say the least. But yeah, I think I'm glad the steps are in the order that they're in. Can you imagine, like, just rocking up on a step 1, like making a fearless small inventory? Like, I did have foundation steps, which was helpful. And you know, I'm a very grateful member of Narcotics Anonymous, but for me, this is just one part of my tools for me to, you know, heal, recover. I've had to have external help. You know, I've been in therapy for over a year now, and I think I can't come to a meeting, sit in a meeting, say I'm Karina and I'm an addict, thank you, thank God. Come to a meeting, say I'm Karina, I'm an addict, tell you all how stressful my day's been and how bad my life is, and go home and expect to heal and recover. That's not good enough for me. And I would suggest it probably ain't good enough for you either, because this stuff starts with the suggested things. Like, we've got to put pen to paper. We're not healing from anything by just coming to a meeting saying I'm an addict and my day's been shit. That's the truth. You know, sponsorship's been a beautiful gift. This is my first year sponsorship. You know, it is giving back. And I remember, just touch on this quickly, I remember sharing at the women's meeting, the London Convention, sharing that I got to my 12 and there's a bit about sponsorship and nobody had asked me to be their sponsor. I felt like that teenage girl that no one wanted to be their friend, right? And that happened quite a lot. And then this year I've been blessed, I've got 3 sponsees and some are reluctant to do the work, but we'll, she's getting there. Bless her. They're all good, they're all blessed. I'm really, really pleased to be able to give back what was freely given to me. But, you know, it's all about God's timing for me. You know, it ain't gonna come in my time, is it? Like, I wanted a sponsee a year clean. Can you imagine the insanity of that? A year clean. So it happened in God's timing, and I'm grateful for that. But step work, commitment is also a big one. We know it. If you've been in a meetings long enough, you know what to do. Just get on with it. Just crack on. But yeah, if no one told you they didn't love you today, I do.
Oh.
I'm out. Thanks.
Thanks, Corinne.